Welcome to Tenerife, or in the Canary Islands. Millions of tourists arrive on the island each year, especially through the Queen Sofia Airport in the south. The first surprise you will have after taking the rented car will be the first entrance on the highway. Attention, the accelerator lanes are made for Ferrari or Lamborghini. With a regular car you will not be able to enter the first lane of the highway at the speed with cruising speed safely. Let's see. The first acceleration lane you encounter in Tenerife, after leaving the airport, is just over 150 meters. And no, this is not an exception. If you're unlucky enough to have someone in back at 80 to 120 kilometers per hour at the time, your vacation could end in hospital or worse. Let's see other entrances to the highway in areas with heavy traffic. "113 meters. Wow. This happens when the acceleration lane is only 113 meters. How does this happen? If you can't get the cruising speed and enter on speed lane slowly, you may be hit by the first vehicle coming from behind. The truth is that you can't reach a minimum of 80 kilometers per hour in just 113 meters. Another entry. Almost 150 meters. Another entry. Beware, in many places there are intersections in the acceleration lane, such as here. Here the acceleration lane is only 128 meters. It's same in mainland Spain? Let's see what the highway entrances to the peninsula are like. We choose an entrance on a highway at random. At the first search we find an acceleration lane of over 700 meters. Even the slowest truck, full loaded, could reach the cruising speed of 80 kilometers per hour without any risk to traffic. I was lucky? Or in mainland Spain, are traffic safety standards met? Let's look for another highway entrance. Wow! Over 1,300 meters. This entrance to the highway is probably on a ramp, that is, uphill, and the loaded trucks need a greater distance to reach cruising speed. We're looking for another entrance to be sure. Almost 350 meters. So in Spain, the accelerator lanes are long enough to allow any vehicle to reach cruising speed before entering in the speed lane. Let's see what happens to the neighbors in Portugal. On first search we find an acceleration lane of about 300 meters. Enough to reach cruising speed. Let's go to the neighbors in France. On first search, we find an acceleration band of over 400 meters. Don't ask me who designed or approved the highways in the Canary Islands, because I didn't find out. It may be a state secret. If you are the victim of an accident, due to the accelerator lane being too short, I recommend that you, or your heirs, sue the road administrator for civil and criminal liability for the accident in which you were involved. The road administrator must ensure safe conditions for the movement of vehicles, and the acceleration lanes of 113 to 150 meters are not exactly safe conditions. Any expertise will show that no ordinary vehicle can reach cruising speed in such a short distance. When you entered the accelerator lane, you met the highway sign. What does this sign say? It says you have to have at least the minimum speed of slow vehicles, trucks, and it says you're not allowed to stop. What did these people smoke? They really aren't aware of the tragedy that could happen. Tenerife is the place where over 150 nations live, and probably some have obtained their driving license at the supermarket promotion. Of course you met the give way sign when entering the acceleration lane, but that means entering the speed lane according to the zipper rule, just like when changing lanes, that is, to not disturb any vehicle in traffic. How can you avoid accidents when entering on the highway in the Canary Islands? If you fail to reach the minimum speed of 80 kilometers per hour to enter the speed lane, or if you have at least 80 kilometers per hour or more, but you do not have enough space, because it ends the accelerator lane. Under no circumstances should you stop at the end of the accelerator lane. Do not stop. If you haven't been able to enter the 50, 60, 70, 80 kilometers per hour, how will you be able to enter safely starting from scratch? More. Behind you on the accelerator lane, there may be other vehicles accelerating, and they will not be able to stop in time behind you. The risk is either to be hit, either by those in the speed lane, either by those in the acceleration lane. In this situation, you must continue to drive on the shoulder, or the emergency lane as it is called in many countries, until you reach a minimum speed of 80 kilometers per hour, or until you can enter in the column of the speed lane, without forcing those from traffic to brake. Some who have read the traffic law will say that it is forbidden to drive on the shoulder, or the emergency lane. It's true, but there is a legal dispensation, which says that in exceptional cases, you can use the shoulder, or the emergency lane. You are now in an exceptional situation. If you enter the speed lane below the cruising speed, you run the risk of causing an accident. If you brake and stop at the end of the accelerator lane, you risk causing another accident. Either option leads to an accident. The only solution is to use the shoulder, or the emergency lane, to be able to enter the speed lane traffic safely. If, however, you had to stop in the accelerator lane, due to a goofy from your front, do not enter the speed lane until after reaching the cruising speed, on shoulder, or the emergency lane. The highway is the place where road accidents are the worst, due to the speed at which they occur. Once you enter the acceleration lane, accelerate, and don't stop. When you intend to enter the highway, I recommend that you keep a sufficiently long distance from the vehicle in front of you, in order to avoid injuring it, if its driver is cabbage. If you are forced to brake behind it, turn on the hazard emergency lights. Do not signal left, as some Canary drivers do. This is another dangerous local invention. You will often notice at pedestrian crossings, or in traffic jams, that Canary drivers signal to the left, which could confuse you. You use the left turn signal when you leave to change direction, when you overtake, when you want to warn the one in front of you to clear your way when he keep the lane blocked, but that doesn't mean that it's an emergency, and those behind you won't know how to slow down. Drivers in the Canary Islands do not signal the change of direction in intersections, or in the roundabout, to know if you can enter or not, but they will confuse you at pedestrian crossings. Another serious problem with the motorways in the Canary Islands is the common acceleration and deceleration lanes. Yes, this is another local invention. After the accelerator lanes are too short and not every vehicle can reach cruising speed at the entrance to the lane, you may be surprised to find another vehicle in the accelerator lane coming out of the highway and braking in front of you. Because for him, this lane is the deceleration lane. It is a major conflict, which often ends with an accident, and most often with traffic jams both on the highway and in the access areas near the highway. This is how it looks. 12 kilometers of highway blocked look like due to a road junction that has a common acceleration and deceleration lane. If you go on a trip, I recommend that you take your sandwiches and water, because you could be stuck in traffic jams for a long time at certain times. And that's what the traffic in area of the entrance to the highway looks like. As I said before, I have not found out who the architect is or who is the responsible for approving the construction of these intersections on the highway, but it is clear that they did not have the most basic notions about the dynamics and physics of moving objects in space, and no idea about traffic safety. Some will always want to get off the highway, and others will want to enter. If we put those who want to go out and those who want to enter in the same place, we will create an intersection, with the risk of accidents and the risk of blocking traffic on the highway. What does the common lane mean? I want to go out. The truck wants to enter. It is the same situation as in the roundabout when one drives through the roundabout on the first lane and blocks your exit. What to do? Do I take another turn? Or go out at the next exit? That's what some smart guys want. Watch the video on the secrets of the roundabout here, or in the final screen. If I brake suddenly to make room for the truck, I risk being hit from behind. If I accelerate, I may run out of braking and let me hit someone. I was lucky now. Traffic in Tenerife is like luck, a kind of lottery. You don't know if you get home alive. Rules that defy logic lead to accidents. And if the 113-meter accelerator lane seems short to you, look, I found one, only 103 meters long. That was the lesson for highway builders and traffic safety officials in Tenerife. Let's hope that this video will reach them, and they will understand the logic of traffic safety, and that they will change something. I'm waiting for comments and criticism if you have counter-arguments. I will ignore the comments of those who only know how to write, but do not understand anything.